We all face battles, not necessarily on fields of war, but in our daily lives. Conflicts at work, disagreements with loved ones, struggles against our own habits or fears. We instinctively brace for impact, prepare for confrontation, believing that to win, we must fight directly, forcefully. But what if there was another way? An ancient path to victory that requires no clash of swords, no raised voices, only wisdom. Imagine achieving your aims, resolving conflicts and navigating challenges not through brute force, but through elegant strategy and profound understanding. This isn't a fantasy. It's a timeless wisdom whispered centuries ago by a master strategist whose insights still resonate today. We are talking about the art of winning, sometimes any battle, often without ever engaging in direct combat. This wisdom comes from Sun Tzu, the legendary Chinese general and philosopher, author of The Art of War. While the title suggests conflict, the true mastery he teaches lies in achieving objectives with the least amount of friction, preferably none at all. His philosophy is not about aggression, but about supreme skill, awareness, and the power of strategic positioning. The core idea is revolutionary, yet simple. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Think about that. Not just winning the fight, but achieving the desired outcome so skillfully that the fight itself becomes unnecessary. How is this seemingly magical feat accomplished? It begins with understanding. Sun Tzu emphasized knowing your enemy. This doesn't always mean a person. It can be a challenging situation, a complex project, a difficult negotiation, or even an internal struggle like procrastination or fear. To win without fighting, you must first understand the nature of the challenge deeply. What are its strengths, weaknesses, motivations, and patterns? Consider a difficult colleague. Instead of confronting them head-on about their behavior, which often leads to defensiveness and escalation, Sun Tzu's approach suggests observation. Understand their pressures, their goals, perhaps their insecurities. What drives their actions? This knowledge is your first strategic advantage, gained without a single shot fired. Equally vital, Sun Tzu stressed, know yourself. What are your strengths and limitations in this situation? What are your true objectives? What are your emotional triggers? Self-awareness prevents impulsive actions driven by ego or frustration. It allows you to act from a place of clarity and strategic intent, rather than reacting blindly. When you understand both the challenge, the enemy, and yourself, you begin to see the terrain, the context of the situation. This includes the environment, the rules of engagement, spoken or unspoken, the timing, and the influence of others. Understanding the terrain reveals pathways to victory that bypass direct conflict altogether. Imagine trying to implement a new idea at work that faces resistance. Direct confrontation might solidify opposition. Instead, understanding the terrain might mean finding the right time to present it, identifying key allies first, or framing the idea in a way that aligns with existing company goals. This is maneuvering on the strategic landscape. Sun Tzu famously said, "Opportunities multiply as they are seized." Knowing yourself, the challenge, and the terrain allows you to recognize these opportunities, moments where a small, indirect action can yield significant results, avoiding a major clash. It's about spotting the leverage points. The highest form of generalship, according to Sun Tzu, is to balk the enemy's plans. This means anticipating the challenge or conflict and neutralizing it before it fully materializes. It's preventing the fire, not just putting it out. This requires foresight, born from deep understanding. How can you apply this? If you anticipate a potential disagreement brewing with someone, could you address the underlying issue proactively in a calm, non-confrontational way? Could you subtly shift the circumstances so the conflict point never arises? This is balking the plan. The next best strategy, Sun Tzu suggested, is to prevent the junction of the enemy's forces. In daily life, this means preventing negativity or opposition from consolidating. If multiple people are resistant to an idea, perhaps address their concerns individually, preventing them from forming a united front of opposition. This isn't about manipulation. It's about strategic communication and understanding group dynamics. By addressing concerns separately, you can tailor your approach and potentially find common ground that wouldn't emerge in a group confrontation. You dissolve the potential battle before the armies unite. Only when these higher strategies fail does Sun Tzu consider attacking the enemy's army in the field, and even then, he seeks the most advantageous circumstances. The least desirable strategy, besieging walled cities, engaging in prolonged, costly, and uncertain direct confrontation. Think about draining arguments, protracted workplace disputes, or stubborn personal habits we fight head-on. These are often our walled cities. We expend enormous energy trying to breach the walls directly, often leading to exhaustion and resentment, with victory uncertain. Sun Tzu warns against this costly approach. The wisdom lies in recognizing when you are facing a walled city and asking, is there another way? Can I go around? Can I undermine its foundations indirectly? Can I simply wait for a better opportunity? Can I change the terrain so the city becomes irrelevant? This requires patience and strategic flexibility. One powerful technique derived from this is shifting the frame of the conversation or problem. Instead of arguing within the opponent's framework, introduce a new perspective, a larger context, or a shared goal that makes the original point of contention seem less important or even irrelevant. For example, in a budget dispute, instead of fighting over specific line items, the walled city, shift the focus to the overall strategic goals the budget serves. Finding alignment on the bigger picture can often dissolve smaller disagreements without direct confrontation over scarce resources. Another key Sun Tzu principle: all warfare is based on deception. In our context, this isn't about lying but about strategic presentation and managing perceptions. It's about appearing formless, unpredictable, not revealing your entire strategy or emotional state prematurely. When you appear calm and unreadable, even when facing difficulty, you retain control. Others don't know your limits or your exact plans. This prevents them from easily targeting your weaknesses or preempting your moves. Maintain composure. Let understanding guide your actions, not visible frustration. Sun Tzu advises, appear weak when you are strong and strong when you are weak. This isn't about false bravado, but about managing expectations. Sometimes, understating your position can lead opponents to underestimate you, giving you room to maneuver. Other times, projecting quiet confidence can deter challenges. Consider negotiations. If you reveal your desperation weakness too early, you lose leverage. If you display excessive arrogance, strength, you might invite unnecessary challenges or resistance. Strategic ambiguity and careful disclosure are key elements of winning without fighting. Sun Tzu also emphasized the importance of speed and adaptability, responding effectively to changing circumstances. Rigidity is weakness. The ability to shift your approach based on new information or unexpected developments is crucial for navigating complex situations without getting bogged down in conflict. If your initial strategy isn't working, don't stubbornly persist, attacking the walled city. Be willing to pivot. Observe the results of your actions, learn and adjust. This fluidity allows you to maintain momentum towards your goal, bypassing obstacles rather than crashing against them. A core element of avoiding fights is choosing which battles are worth fighting. Sun Tzu states, "He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight." Not every disagreement requires engagement. Not every challenge needs to be met head-on. Discernment is paramount. Ask yourself, what is truly at stake here? Is this conflict aligned with my core values or long-term goals? Or is it a distraction, fueled by ego or minor irritation? Conserving your energy for the battles that truly matter is a strategic victory in itself. Let the small skirmishes pass. Winning without fighting often involves leveraging time. Patience can be a powerful weapon. Sometimes, the best course of action is to wait. Circumstances change, opponents make mistakes, new opportunities arise. Rushing into conflict is often less effective than strategic inaction. Consider a situation where emotions are running high. Engaging immediately likely leads to escalation, a fight. Waiting for tempers to cool, allowing time for reflection on all sides, can create space for a more rational and productive resolution later. This is using time strategically. Sun Tzu also spoke of shaping the battlefield. In life, this means influencing the context or environment in which a potential conflict might occur. Can you change the setting of a difficult conversation to somewhere more neutral or calming? Can you structure a meeting agenda to focus on collaboration rather than confrontation? By thoughtfully shaping the where and how of an interaction, you can subtly guide its direction away from conflict. Making the environment conducive to understanding and cooperation is a powerful, indirect way to win by preventing the battle altogether. Another layer is understanding the power of alliances and relationships. Sun Tzu knew the importance of diplomacy. Cultivating goodwill, building trust, and having allies can help you navigate challenges without resorting to direct conflict. Friends can mediate, offer support, or provide alternative perspectives. Investing time in building positive relationships is a long-term strategy for avoiding unnecessary battles. When trust and rapport exist, disagreements are less likely to escalate into full-blown conflicts. People are more willing to listen, understand, and find common ground. Sun Tzu advises to win ko suum inus without ko suum inus. This can also mean achieving victory through demonstrating superior value or competence. Instead of fighting rivals directly, focus on excelling in your own work, providing such undeniable quality that the competition becomes less relevant. Let your results speak for themselves. When you consistently deliver excellence, you build a reputation that preempts many challenges. People are less likely to question or obstruct someone whose competence and value are clearly demonstrated. Your performance becomes your shield and sword. This approach shifts the focus from defeating others to elevating yourself. It's an internal victory that radiates outward, often dissolving external conflicts before they begin. It's about becoming the standard, the undeniable choice, through sheer merit. Consider Sun Tzu's emphasis on intelligence gathering. In modern life, this translates to active listening and keen observation. Truly listening to understand another person's perspective, needs, and fears is crucial for finding solutions that don't involve fighting. Pay attention to what's not said. When you understand the other side's underlying interests, not just their stated position, you can often find creative solutions that satisfy everyone. This requires looking beyond the surface conflict to the deeper human needs at play. This is intelligence gathering for peace. The ultimate expression of Sun Tzu's wisdom might be achieving a state where conflict simply doesn't arise because your actions are aligned with a natural flow, with wisdom. This is less about specific tactics and more about cultivating an inner state of balance and clarity. When you operate from a place of deep understanding, empathy, and strategic awareness, your interactions naturally become smoother. You anticipate friction points, you communicate clearly, you build bridges. Conflict finds little purchase. This is the unfought victory of personal mastery. How do we begin to cultivate this? Start small. Notice the next time you feel the urge to push back, to argue, to fight. Pause, ask yourself, what is the walled city here? Is there another way? What do I know about the terrain, the other player, myself? Practice observation without judgment. When facing a challenge, spend time simply watching, listening, gathering information before reacting. Resist the urge to immediately label the situation or person as the enemy. Seek to understand the dynamics at play first. Reflect on your own patterns. When do you tend to get drawn into conflict? What are your triggers? Understanding your own tendencies is crucial for choosing not to fight, for recognizing when your ego is pushing for battle rather than your wisdom. Experiment with indirect approaches. If direct requests have failed, could you reframe the issue? Could you approach it from a different angle? Could you enlist an ally? Try a small, strategic maneuver instead of a frontal assault. Observe the results. Practice patience. When immediate action feels necessary but is likely to cause conflict, consciously choose to wait and observe. See if time offers new perspectives or solutions. Let the situation evolve. Strategic delay is not weakness, it's control. Focus on building bridges, even small ones. Offer a genuine compliment, find a small point of agreement, express understanding of someone's difficulty, even if you disagree on the main issue. These small acts build goodwill that can diffuse potential conflict later. Reframe winning. Instead of seeing victory as defeating someone else, define it as achieving your core objective harmoniously. Did you solve the problem? Did you reach understanding? Did you maintain the relationship? This redefinition makes winning without fighting the ultimate success. This ancient art isn't about passivity. It's about active, strategic non-engagement in direct hostility. It requires more awareness, more skill, and often more courage than simply reacting with force. It's the path of the wise strategist, not the impulsive brawler. Applying Sun Tzu's wisdom means playing the long game. Short-term, victories won through force often create resentment and future battles. True victory builds sustainable solutions and preserves relationships, ensuring peace long after the immediate challenge has passed. It requires a shift in mindset, from seeing the world as a series of battles to be won, to seeing it as a complex system to be understood and navigated with grace and intelligence. The goal is not conquest, but harmony and effective action. Think of water again. It doesn't fight the rock, it flows around it, wears it down slowly, or finds another path. Yet, water possesses immense power. This is the nature of winning without fighting, yielding, adapting, yet persistently moving towards its destination. Be like water. This doesn't mean you become a doormat. Knowing when not to fight also implies knowing when you must stand firm. But even then, Sun Tzu advises doing so from a position of advantage, prepared and calculated, not out of anger or desperation. Choose your ground wisely. The energy you save by not engaging in unnecessary conflict can be reinvested into more productive pursuits, creativity, growth, building relationships, achieving your actual goals. Fighting drains resources. Strategic avoidance preserves them. Consider the internal battles too. Fighting against anxiety or negative thoughts directly often strengthens them. Applying Sun Tzu's wisdom might mean understanding their triggers, know your enemy, acknowledging them without struggle, avoiding the siege, and shifting focus to constructive actions, changing the terrain. Winning the inner battle without fighting means cultivating acceptance, mindfulness, and self-compassion. It's about changing your relationship to the struggle, not obliterating the thoughts or feelings themselves. This internal peace is perhaps the greatest victory. The beauty of this ancient art lies in its universal applicability. From boardroom negotiations to family dynamics, from personal habits to societal challenges, the principles of understanding, strategic positioning, and avoiding needless conflict hold true. It's wisdom for life. It encourages us to move beyond reactive patterns and embrace a more thoughtful, deliberate approach to challenges. It empowers us by showing that true strength lies not in force, but in wisdom, insight, and the ability to achieve our ends with minimal collateral damage. The next time conflict looms, remember Sun Tzu. Remember the possibility of victory without combat. Pause, observe, understand, strategize. Can you balk the plan, disrupt the alliances, change the terrain, choose your response wisely, don't default to fighting? This path requires discipline. It requires letting go of the ego's need to win arguments or dominate others. It demands patience and foresight. But the reward is immense: effectiveness, peace of mind, and the preservation of precious energy and relationships. The ultimate victory, the one achieved without fighting, leaves no bitterness, no lingering resentment, no seeds for future conflict. It's a clean win, often invisible to others, recognized only by the strategist who navigated the situation with skill and grace. Sun Tzu's ancient wisdom isn't just military strategy. It's a profound guide to navigating the complexities of human interaction and achieving our goals in the most intelligent, efficient, and often the most humane way possible. It teaches us the power of non-aggression. Embracing this art means becoming more observant of the world around you and within you. It sharpens your perception, allowing you to see the underlying currents beneath the surface of events. You start to see the game being played, not just the immediate moves. This heightened awareness allows for proactive measures. You can subtly influence situations, guide conversations, and address potential issues before they escalate into battles. You become a conductor of circumstances rather than just a reactor to them. Think about a simple scenario: receiving critical feedback. The fighting response is defensiveness. The Sun Tzu approach: listen deeply, intelligence gathering, understand the feedback's source and intent, know the enemy terrain, acknowledge valid points, yielding, and formulate a constructive response, strategic action, avoiding a battle of egos. This requires emotional regulation, knowing yourself. If you feel defensive, acknowledge the feeling internally but choose not to act on it impulsively. This internal pause is where strategy replaces reaction. It's the space where you choose not to fight. The power of this approach grows with practice. Each time you successfully navigate a challenge without resorting to direct conflict, you reinforce the neural pathways of wisdom and strategic thinking. It becomes more natural, more instinctive. You begin to see opportunities for unfought victories everywhere. Situations that previously would have triggered frustration or confrontation now appear as strategic puzzles to be solved elegantly. Life becomes less of a battlefield and more of a dance. This isn't about being cunning for selfish gain, although the strategies are effective. At its best, it's about applying wisdom to minimize harm, reduce friction, and foster understanding, achieving goals in a way that respects the interconnectedness of things. Sun Tzu reminds us that the greatest victory is that which requires no battle. This isn't merely a clever saying. It's a profound philosophical stance on the nature of power, influence, and success. True mastery lies in finesse, not force. As you integrate this perspective, notice how your stress levels might decrease. Constant fighting, whether external or internal, is exhausting. Navigating strategically, avoiding unnecessary clashes, conserves vital energy and promotes inner calm. You start embodying a quiet confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. It comes from knowing you have the tools to handle situations effectively, often without needing to prove anything through confrontation. This is the confidence of the strategist. The enemy might even become an ally when handled wisely. By understanding their needs and finding common ground, a potential adversary can sometimes be turned into a collaborator, achieving a result far better than any victory won through battle. This requires creativity, seeing possibilities beyond the binary of fight or flee. Sun Tzu's wisdom opens up a spectrum of strategic options: influence, persuasion, timing, positioning, reframing, avoidance, adaptation. The palette of response becomes much richer. So, the ancient art of winning without fighting is not a secret technique reserved for generals. It is a practical philosophy for anyone seeking a more effective, harmonious, and less stressful way to navigate the unavoidable challenges of life. It begins with the commitment to understand before acting, to prioritize wisdom over impulse, and to redefine victory not as domination, but as the skillful achievement of worthy goals with minimal friction. Can you recall a recent conflict? Looking back with this lens, can you see moments where a different approach, perhaps understanding the terrain better or knowing your own triggers might have led to an unfought victory. This reflection isn't about regret, but about learning. Every interaction is a chance to practice this art, to refine your skills in observation, strategy, and self-awareness. Each small success builds momentum. The core message remains elegantly simple. The supreme strategist wins by making battle unnecessary. They achieve their objectives through superior understanding, positioning, and adaptability, preserving energy and relationships along the way. This is not about avoiding difficulty, but about meeting it intelligently. It's about choosing wisdom over warfare, strategy over struggle, and realizing that the most profound power often lies in the quiet, calculated move, not the thunderous clash. Embrace the art of the unfought victory. Cultivate your inner strategist. Observe, understand, adapt, and choose your engagements wisely. You may find that the most challenging battles are won long before they ever begin, through the quiet power of profound understanding.